Good morning. Are you interested in free travel? That's what we're talking about today, and I have an expert to tell you a little more about it, so stay tuned. Welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. This is Travel Tuesday, where I get to introduce you to travel professionals from around the world. My name is Kay, and I'm happy that you can join us today on Happy Trails Hiking. If you're interested in learning more about travel, especially to parks and public lands, I would invite you to subscribe to this channel. I do have an expert today in travel hacking. And, LeAnna Brown is a former teacher turned blogger, turned mom, turned full-time travel addict. LeAnna has never been one to live by the rules. Whether she's moving to a farm in Switzerland to learn to make cheese, yes, cheese, jumping off a mountain to paraglide over Cinderella castles, or taking her baby all over the world with nothing but a backpack on their backs, LeAnna designs and defines her own life on all points, pennies, and a budget. Guys, I would love to have you welcome LeAnna to the show today. Welcome, LeAnna. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Kate. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Okay, so I put out a call basically on a Facebook page to a bunch of travel bloggers and said, hey, does anybody want to be on the travel show? And LeAnna said, ooh, me, we can talk about travel hacking. And I went, what the heck is travel hacking? So as we have people coming in the room, you're going to tell us about travel hacking. If you guys who are in the chat happen to have questions for LeAnna, if you will put those in the chat and type at Happy Trails Hiking, that would be helpful. So, LeAnna, what is travel hacking?
Yeah, so it all started about, oh gosh, I can't even believe it. It's almost 10 years ago now. My husband came to me and was like, hey, I want to sign us up for these credit cards, and we're going to get a ton of points and miles that we can use for travel. And I was like, nope, you are not ruining my credit just so that we can get some like cheap or free travel.
Yeah.
And he kind of was like, well, sorry, I already did it. And so basically what travel hacking is I always tell people, like, if you know about frequent flyer points or like hotel loyalty programs, it's like that, but like on steroids. It's taking credit cards and doing sign-up bonuses, which I know I'm kind of probably saying a lot of like words right here that maybe people aren't very familiar with, but a sign-up bonus is like when you first sign up for a credit card, they like incentivize you to sign up for these credit cards, usually with something. And there's a ton of credit cards that incentivize you with, United miles or Chase points that can be converted to, to use for free flights, Marriott points for free night stays. And so we started collecting, like literally collecting credit cards, and our score is fantastic, if in case you're wondering.
Wow.
And that's basically been our mode of traveling for the last 10 years. Free flights, free hotel nights. And when I say free, like we have to pay taxes and fees. So like we just went to Thailand for a month in October, and it cost us like $20 to fly all the way to Thailand from Omaha, Nebraska.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So yeah, people of my age hear about all sorts of horror stories about people getting burned by credit cards. Hey, I got a Discover card right out of high school almost.
Yep.
And so it was like, okay, I have this Discover card. Well, I've since closed that because that's dangerous. You can't have a credit card. You don't have any income. What are you talking about?
Right.
So when I started reading on your blog about this, I was like, oh my God, no.
Right. I think that's a lot of people's gut reactions. Like I said, it was mine.
Right.
However, I've since then obviously have learned a ton about credit cards, and there's a ton of misconceptions out there. And one of them is how we create our credit score. And so one of the things that's funny is by opening and closing credit cards, that actually hurts our scores. Right. So we actually have over 60 credit cards in our names. Yes, Wow.
Wow.
And our scores are like damn near perfect. I mean, like they could not get any better right now. So,
So we're going to get into this just a
okay.
little bit more. Um, and so I do want to say hello to the folks that took time to come to the show and be here with us. Inspired John is saying, good question. Thank goodness. And that's rad. He is my money business manager, dude. If I have any business questions, I go to Inspired John. So he's probably going, oh. Anyway, first one in the room was our Haunted Travels, Panic D. Hello. Thank you for coming. Cornish Exploring with Alex is here. Desmond Stonders is here from Scotland, even. And Spare and Outdoors is here. Well, it's welcome, guys. I'm happy to see. Oh, and Marty's crew from Our Family Adventures is working and listening from his forklift. So it is good to see everybody, as well as Triumph Screen Printing. Awesome. We have people from around the world here to hear about travel hacking today, LeAnna. And for those of you who came in a little after the intro, LeAnna is a expert travel hacker, and she has a website, she and her husband, called the Economical Excursionists.com. She also has another one for traveling in Nebraska, but we are going to focus on budget travel today. And so my first question was, what is travel hacking? And I hope that you all heard that answer. But number two, what are the tools that I would need if I were going to get started in travel hacking, LeAnna?
You know, it's actually really easy to get started in travel hacking. You don't really need any tools. You do need a little bit of know-how, and it's really great because there's a ton of resources online that you can go to. Like if you literally Google travel hacking with credit cards, there's, I mean, hundreds of websites and blogs and things like that that will come up. And you know, so really my biggest suggestion to people wanting to start with this is to just go and do a little bit of reading. When we first started about 10 years ago, we started because we read Chris Guillebeau's book on travel hacking. He's kind of one of the first people in the blogging sphere that really kind of pushed this into the mainstream. And, you know, so it just takes a little bit of reading. Anything more than anything, it takes a little bit of more of like self-assurance to yourself that like, this isn't illegal and like this isn't a scam, and you know, like it really is real. And so I think that it's a little bit more of that. Now there are tools for people who get really serious, you know, but I joke like the biggest tool you probably need is a spreadsheet to like track things, and that's for like really serious travel hackers like us. Some people just get 1 or 2 credit cards to do one major trip, like their lifelong dream or whatever, and like they don't worry about all the other stuff. So it can be as easy and it can be as complex as you want it to be. I think a lot of people get really overwhelmed when like people like me start to talk about the in-depth part, but like know that it can just be as simple as you want it to be. You can get 1 credit card to get you a free flight to, you know, South Africa or Scotland or wherever, and it doesn't need to be complicated.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I've always thought, oh my gosh, if I were going to do this, it would be insane. Well, first of all, I haven't always thought that, but since I started researching in the last couple of weeks, I'd be like, oh my gosh. But it's also not all that weird because Matt and I just traveled to Arizona, and I used my points on my Southwest points. And
Exactly.
I don't have a Southwest credit card. I just have the free plan, you know, collect points and use them. I just used that for a flight to Orlando later.
Yeah.
And we stayed for free in a Marriott hotel. So
yeah. So that's just it, Kay. Like so many people already do a very, 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 very mild version of travel hacking. Everybody's already aware of frequent flyer points and hotel stays. The problem with that system is it can take years to build up enough flights, especially for people like me who have a family. It can take so long because the typical ways of earning points is, you know, you pay for a flight, you get points back. You pay for a hotel night, you earn points.
Right.
That can take so long. And like, okay, for people who maybe travel a lot for business, they might earn it a little bit faster.
Right.
But like for an average person, literally it can take years to earn enough points for a free flight.
Right.
And what this does, it takes you about 3 months to earn enough points for a free international flight. So it like again, it like takes that frequent flyer program that we already know about, but like really amps it up.
Awesome. That's really cool. Hey guys, you in the audience, if you would share this out and hit that like button, number one, I will tell YouTube that I'm doing stuff that you like. And two, it will get things out to your audiences, and people need to know about this. I didn't know about this. I was like, travel hacking, what? All right. So you mentioned people who have families and, different demographic groups of people just a couple minutes ago. Who should be travel hacking? And is it for everybody?
Really great question. I always joke, yeah, it is for everyone, but I kind of like put like an asterisk by that. Again, one of the scariest parts about travel hacking is the credit cards. And so what I tell people is, if you are not a good like spender, meaning like if you know that having a credit card, that you're just gonna go spend, then no, credit then travel hacking is not for you. The whole point of travel hacking is that you never spend more money than what you would spend normally. And so one of the biggest rules of travel hacking is anything that you charge to that card, you should be able to pay off today. So obviously at the end of the month, when your statement comes through, every penny is paid off. So the point of this isn't to go like rack up a ton of bills on your credit card. It's truly just using your daily spending to your advantage. So that's probably the only people that I would say is not for travel hacking. Now, I do know that there's a couple of international people here today, and I will say that like it's really it's really sad, and I'm really sorry for like you who are in Scotland and things like that. There's not a ton of really great programs internationally. The US is fantastic. Canada has a couple. The UK has a couple. And when I say like a couple, I mean like credit card offers, things like that.
Gotcha.
Australia has like one or two, but the US is really like the where it's at. So like I apologize to all you other people.
Right. Yeah, that's sad. Everybody needs to have these.
I know. And like again, there's the frequent flyer programs in those places. But like it like in the UK, they're just kind of getting a hold of this concept with like credit cards and things like that. Part of that is cultural. Like we lived in Germany and credit cards just weren't a big part of culture there, like period. So I think as that becomes more popular in other locations, I don't doubt that it'll start to kind of pick up, but right now, the U.S. is the main like clientele for that.
Gotcha. I thought of something and it went away, but I'll just go on and ask my next question. So I was looking at your website and you have a flyer miler program or website. What is that and what's it used for?
Well, so we're called the Economical Excursionists. So we penny pinch everything we do when we travel. We budget travel. So that's why travel hacking goes perfectly. Like free flights, like all we have to really do then is like budget travel where we're at, our daily activities and things like that. So Flyer Miler came about when we decided to, this is pre-kids, backpack through Asia for 2 months. And we were kind of, typical American style travel. We were kind of hopping around every few weeks and like flying distances. And so in true like budget travel form, a lot of travel hackers like love to just like spend their like a lot of people like they say don't hoard your points. You earn it and burn it is what it's called. Earn it and burn it. And so a ton of travel hackers love to like fly in business class and all these things. And we kind of we take the budget travel philosophy and apply it to our travel hacking. And so like we don't necessarily hoard our points. Because they do devalue. But we do try to stretch them as far as they can go so that we get more flights. So instead of spending, 100,000 miles on a business class flight, which don't get me wrong, is amazing and we do it plenty of times, we'd rather, do 3 economy flights, for the same amount. So what we did was my husband, in true like computer programming nerd fashion, he's a computer programmer. He decided to create a tool to kind of figure out the best use of our points, because there really was no tool out there at the time that told us like, okay, here's how many points it costs to fly here. and compare the different airlines. And, not another thing for, other people who are listening, not all points are created equal. So, a United point is not equal to a Delta point. And so it's very overwhelming to try to figure out your value of points. And so that was what this tool was created. It was it was really for our own sake. And then a couple of other people found it by accident, and it just kind of went from there.
So basically, I pulled it up here, and so basically you put from and wherever you want to go to, and it tells you what, just type in your origin and destination.
Yeah.
It started. Is there a cost for this? Are you guys charging for it since it is your website?
No, it's free. My husband's a huge believer that you shouldn't charge for things like this. Awesome. It's just kind of a side project of ours. So this isn't a main thing of ours. He just likes to fiddle with this every once in a while, but when it's updated, it's a really, really fantastic tool. One of our good friends, Travel is Free. They're huge into travel hacking, and they he just loves this tool, and he's kind of a nerd like we are. I think the nerdier people really enjoy this. It's really great to figure out, again, for people who just want to use their points, they just use them, and that's totally cool. But for people like us we like to combine that budget travel with our travel hacking. It's a great way to extend those miles and get even more free flights or hotels.
That's awesome. We do have some new folks in the room, and thank you to Rachel Rawson, Down the Rabbit Hole, and Irvin DePaid Tourist for stopping in. This is LeAnna, and she is a travel hacker, and she's one of the creators of the Economical Excursionists.com, and if you have questions for her, please make sure you put those in the chat so we can get to them. We also had Lottery of Life come in and say hello. So welcome. And then there's a foreign name here that I don't know. It's a TV station, but it's Chinese or Asian characters that I don't know. So, I'm sorry, but welcome to the TV station that is here. Awesome.
Yeah, welcome.
Excellent. We do have a question from Down the Rabbit Hole saying, so that tool finds you the cheapest flights? I missed what the purpose of it was. So flyer miler.
So not necessarily the cheapest. I mean, again, when we talk cheapest, we're not talking dollar values. We're talking with your points and your miles. Mm-hmm. So what you would do is you, again, like Kay was saying, so we'll just use an example of mine. We're from Omaha, Nebraska. So we'll type in Omaha, and let's say we want to fly to Munich. So we type in the airport codes or whatever, OMA to MUC. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up a list of all of the award charts. So Delta, United, Lufthansa, all of those award charts and airlines. And it's going to show you how many points it costs to fly those. Gotcha. And then it also gives you information of if, are there surcharges and taxes and things like that, hidden things that might show up. And so it's not necessarily cheapest as far as dollars go, but it tells you how you can use your points and miles the best way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And okay, great. So hopefully that answered the question. Marty from Down the Rabbit Hole is from Canada and is a teacher as well. And LeAnna used to be a former teacher. Used to be a teacher. There. Yeah. Too many words. But anyway, so she has a snow day or a cold day up in Alberta today.
Ooh.
Anyway. All right. So flyer miler. My next question is, can this work with a family? Since you have kids, you said you backpacked all over with your child. Can this work with a family travel hacking?
It does. It's a little bit harder, and it takes a little bit more time to collect enough points, but it can be done. In fact, my son is 3.5 years old, and he already has a credit card in his name.
Oh, wow.
Obviously he doesn't use it, and we don't use it. We're not going to ruin his credit for when he turns 18. He's not going to be one of those kids that comes to us and was like, I can't believe you did this, Mom and Dad. No. So, and again, like that's not the point of travel hacking is like to ruin your credit.
Right.
Yeah, it just, so some people, again, what's nerve wracking for a lot of people is each time they have to open up one more credit card. And it's actually not as scary as most people think. And if you kind of plan out what credit cards you need, then you can space it out over a year or whatever. And so for my husband and I, it might have only taken one credit card per person to get enough points for a free flight. Now, for a family, obviously, like it might maybe take 4 credit cards over the course of a year or longer, whatever you're most comfortable with. So, yeah, it's absolutely possible. And, right now, and for people who do have families, like we did a ton of travel when my first son was under 2 because he still flew free. Um, and like then we kind of are doing the same thing right now. While my second son is under 2, like yeah, now we have to pay for my other son, or when I say pay, use points and miles again.
Right.
But again, my baby is now free. So it's like that's a perfect time to be traveling with families. I know it's scary traveling with families with toddlers and babies, but like it's actually financially one of the better times to do it.
Better times. Yeah, that totally makes sense. So I had all these questions written down, and then I get all of these questions in my head.
I know.
And it's only a 30-minute show. So guys, let me really encourage you.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Right? Yes. I'll have to try some of this and then we'll come back. And anyway,
yes.
So yeah, guys, let me encourage you to go to LeAnna's blog, the economical-excursionist.com, and read some of these articles. They're well written, and she goes into big detail on these. So that's so good. And down the rabbit hole, I said I've been putting as much as I can into my travel Aspire card, groceries, gas, everything except basic bills, which come out automatically, trying to add up my points as fast as I can. That's excellent. And some of the things, Marty, that LeAnna's been talking about is opening up new credit cards and transferring balances. Yes? No?
No, not necessarily. So, what she or he is referring to.
She.
Marty can be both.
Yes, exactly.
Is there's what's called a minimum spend. So when I open up a new credit card, I just don't automatically get those points into my wallet. I have to spend a minimum amount within a certain period of time. So a typical stereotypical example is within 3 months, I have to spend $3,000. Some is more, some is less. It just depends on the card. That's just kind of an average. And so what a lot of people say is like, how do I meet that minimum spend? There's no way I can spend $3,000 in 3 months. I don't even have $3,000.
Oh.
And what's funny is like, you would be shocked at what you actually do spend. So for a lot of people who are unsure about this, I say spend your next 3 months literally tracking every penny you spend. I mean, I know that sounds extreme, but do it. And you are going to be so surprised at how close to that $3,000 you really are. So like Marty was saying, everything, like groceries, like here in the US, there are some bills you can pay with your credit card. Like, I mean, anything. When we first started this 10 years ago, credit cards were obviously a thing, but not even as much as they are today.
Sure.
The gas station would look at me crazy when I would literally put my 50-cent pack of gum on my credit card. She'd be like, are you kidding me? But like, it doesn't cost me anything extra to do it. So yeah, like, yes, every 50 cents adds up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I remember, well, when I didn't have cash and we first started with debit cards,
yeah,
I would be like, okay, I have put less on here. Just go.
Exactly.
Yes, I know it's $1, but do it anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And that's just it with debit cards. So many people who are afraid of travel hacking have debit cards, and they're using those debit cards the same way that you would use a credit card, and yet they're not getting any perks from it, none whatsoever.
Right. And Matt, my husband, and I have talked about in the past going, all right, if we're going to try to do the Southwest Companion Pass, we fly Southwest a lot.
Yep.
If we're going to try to do the Companion Pass, then we need to buy all of our groceries on there and all of our gas and all of our just every time we go to Lowe's or Home Depot or
everything. Yep.
everything would go on there, and
Yep.
we have not yet, but we do. For those folks, we just keep getting awesome people in the room here, LeAnna. I just want to say hello to Food Forest Permaculture and Tonic Exempt. Exempt. Okay, that you're a new channel to me, and thank you for coming. As well as Colorado Martini is in the room, and guys, this is LeAnna from the Economical Excursionist.com, and if you all have questions about travel hacking, now is the time to ask because we have 5 minutes left. So, my next question is, what is your next dream trip for your travel hacking, LeAnna? What's coming up next?
Ooh, well, we just spent a month in Thailand, and then we came home for a week and a half, and then we turned back around and went back to Germany. So those are usually like my two big ones that I love to do. Like Thailand is one of my favorite countries in the world. I could go back there. I could live there. We used to live in Germany. My next big dream trip, that's hard to say because there is a really good chance that we're actually moving back to Germany soon, which opens up a ton of possibilities for travel over there.
Wow.
I've been seeing a ton about, like, since we were just in Thailand, Malaysia, I think, is like a up and coming place, like similar to Thailand, beaches, delicious food. I would love to do Malaysia, but I've also, it's really sad. We're at over 45 countries now, I think, but they're all like in Europe, Asia. We've done little in South America. Like, so I have been eyeing Peru actually. So I don't know.
Wow, that's really cool. And in 45 countries and 10 years, is that right?
Funny enough, we hit that number within like 6, and then we really, really, really slowed down once we had kids. And it's what's funny is we kept going back to our favorite countries once we had kids. So like our numbers weren't going up. We were still traveling just as much, but our tally marks weren't increasing.
Gotcha. We have we do the same. Well, we don't have kids, but we travel back to the same national parks all the time.
Yeah.
To Yellowstone and Grand Teton like 6 times.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Down the rabbit hole is saying Peru is my dream trip, and she says you're twins, and you two kind of look alike. So there you go. And Inspired John says interesting points. I don't know if I could keep up with it. So, John, you know how much my husband Matt likes spreadsheets. Well, LeAnna's husband likes spreadsheets just as much.
Well, and again, I want to really reiterate that, I'm sitting here talking as somebody who has 60 credit cards. But again, I have helped, my sister, she literally opened one credit card. And this was, I don't know, 7 years ago to come to a trip with us in Greece. And that's literally the only one that she opened. She hasn't closed that. That's her daily credit card now. She just uses it daily. And that was it. Like that was her big trip that she wanted to do, and one credit card. So not overwhelming, nothing to keep up with. My best friend, we wanted to go do a safari in South Africa. Same thing. She opened one credit card to get her there. And again, that's the credit card she uses today. That was 8 years ago. So, I mean, it doesn't need to be overwhelming. Somebody who just wants like that one dream trip, like it can be as simple as that.
Awesome. I have 2 questions, one from Journey of Bear and one from Rachel Rawson. Rachel Rawson is from the UK. She wants to know how I can make my flights to get to me cheaper. She's coming to visit me in June. I'm very excited. We're actually having a big Midwest meetup and camp out and stuff. So, but she's coming and she just really needs to make her flights to me cheaper. So do you have any tips for UK or Europeans?
Yeah, or just people in general who like just really aren't sure about travel hacking. You obviously want to get still the best flights. So a couple of things. For example, and some of these are like pretty well known. But I like to like set a Google alert on so there's flights.google.com, and you can set an alert for a flight that you're interested in. And when it, kind of opens up in your price range, you can go and book it. Another thing is whenever you search, do it in an incognito window. So they track you, and like
Thank you.
it's not been unknown that like I will do it in a normal browser and literally like 3 hours later go do that same search, and it was like, wait a minute, this is now $50 more expensive. Like, what the heck? Or sometimes even more. So always do searches in incognito windows. Um, Another one is like, I know this, like, and again, this is like, I'm a budget traveler. Like, I will do anything to save money when
Mhm.
traveling. Like switch airlines if you need to. Like, do from the UK to the US, find a cheap flight that way, and then so let's say you fly
To Chicago.
or like
Sorry.
a British British I was gonna say Avios. Avios doesn't do much anymore, but like you do, you fly one carrier and then book a completely separate ticket as like a hopper flight.
Okay.
So a lot of people will like, a good example, again, I'll use my Omaha to Munich. Um, if I do Omaha to Munich and I'm paying cash with that, not points, then there might be a really good flight from like New York to Germany.
Mhm.
And then if I can find a separate ticket with like Southwest or Frontier from Omaha to New York,
New York.
I can piece those together. Now, it's a pain in the butt, especially if you have to be switching from JFK to LaGuardia or whatever.
Right.
I have done it. It's a pain
Right.
in the butt. But if it saves me a couple $100, like, again, I'm so frugal, we will do it.
Sure. Journey of Bear has a question. It says, "Hello. Any good point programs that are not credit cards?" Not credit
Yeah,
cards.
I mean, a ton of them. But again, the point of travel hacking is that like massive, uh, like obtaining of those points in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the points programs are all great. Like, it's what I recommend doing is sign up. Just go to Marriott and sign up with Marriott. Go to Delta, sign up with Delta.
Right.
So
I signed up with Southwest, and I do not have a Southwest credit card.
exactly. Yeah, you don't need credit cards to be a part of their loyalty program. Now, again, what is going to happen is you're going to be that typical, it's going to take a lot longer to create points. And the problem with that is it also kind of pigeonholes you into flying certain people. Because like
Right.
if you want a free flight on Delta, for example, because you are near a Delta hub, you're going to just fly Delta in the coming years. And maybe those actually aren't the cheapest flights, but because you want to earn those miles, you feel like you have to fly Delta. So
Right.
it kind of just depends on what your goal is.
So Down the Rabbit Hole says that she's testing an app right now called Sweatcoin. And she has a video on her channel. So if anybody wants to look at that, that might be a thing to look at. Yes. I don't think we're going to get to our last questions. We are so done. I'm sorry, guys. Everybody. Yeah, we have Paranormal Voices came in. So thank you for being here. And Food Forest Permaculture says, fantastic live stream with awesome tips. So thank you all for coming today. I guess we are going to have to do a part 2 at some point. LeAnna. This is a great topic. And I hope the folks that are here that came in near the end will go back to the beginning and listen to the first part. But I have a couple more questions, and I guess I'll just have to get to them another day.
I guess so.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah,
And
thank you for having me.
sharing all of your expertise.
Yeah.
And if you'll hang out for just a second, I'm going to finish out the show.
All righty.
All right. Okay, guys, I do need you to do a couple things. One, go over to the economicalexcursionist.com and say hello to LeAnna and read a couple of her blogs, ask questions, tell her you found her on Happy Trails Hiking. 2, hit the like button, share this with someone else you think would be interested in having this, and come back and leave a comment after that lets YouTube know that I am getting engagement and that you like what Happy Trails Hiking is doing. And number 3, go out and live the life you love today. And remember, you are not replaceable. Thank you so much for being here.